Good evening, everybody. Happy Tuesday. I miss y'all so much. Share this video. We just grooving. It's a little fuzzy, okay? I do apologize. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and get into it, okay? Good evening, you guys. Like I said, happy Tuesday to everybody, okay? So what up, what up? Welcome to the channel. If you're new, don't be. Go ahead and click that subscribe button to be a part of the Witness gang, to join the Witness Nation. Let's get into this, shall we? Hello, you guys, and welcome to the channel. If you're new, don't be. Okay?
Whitney. Keep it cute, get the boot.
Your girl, as whack as she is in all her glory, was in the New York Times. Good evening. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the journey. Okay, let me know where you guys are tuning in from, okay? So I can shout you guys out this evening, okay? And here we are. We are on day one of the trial, but day two of the series. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this. Keep it cute or get the boot. It's hey. You know, rules and regulations. You abide by them or you choose not to. And all you have to do is click that X, okay? You don't have to agree with me or my commentary or what have you, but I'm just reading the transcripts. I will give my commentary in between, but if you don't like it, just leave. Okay. Just leave. That's that simple. You can join the greatest channel on YouTube, okay? About integrity, and we keep it straight enough cute over here, all right? And the link is in the chat, okay? It's pinned up top for you, all right? So make sure if you're interested in joining the channel, click that link, okay? Now, if you would like to tip the hostess with the mostest, I like that too. This is my Cashapp information. All right. Now, however, if you have, another way of wanting to send me, some ducats, look at the very bottom of the screen. But look right here underneath, I have different ways and revenues in which you can, send me a little donation. I don't have my phone, so I'm not going to lie. If you do send it to me, I'm not going to be able to shout you out, but I'm grateful in advance, okay? Now, if you got a tip on anything or you would like to send me anything pertaining to this trial or anything else, send it to ReviewswithWhitneyD@gmail.com, okay? But good evening, everybody. Let me go ahead and get into this chat so we can move right along, okay? All right. Hey, Shawty, exactly, William Brown. Hey, girl. Hattie, pew, 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 she's not with it tonight, okay? Hey, Miss Carmichael. Hi, good evening, gorgeous. Hey, Isha. Hi. Yes, like Katie says, please hit that thumbs up button, subscribe, and share. Don't forget to press that notification. Make sure you move it from personalized to all, okay? So you can receive all of my notifications, okay? So you don't miss out, all right? Thank you. Okay, let's see anybody else that I missed. Yes, also what Katie says, come in respectful or leave embarrassed, be blocked and blessed. Okay, all right, okay. Because I know this is a sensitive topic for some of you people out there in Lulu La La Land, okay? Now, if you did not get the opportunity to watch the first episode, very first episode of me just kind of compacting the first day, which was jury selections, please make sure you give yourself time to watch it. It's just 10 minutes, okay? Very informative. And to be honest with you, that's going to be a lot of little nuggets of from this series are going to be compound information. So, you won't have to read and do all the research. I did it for you, okay? And then we come to you guys with transcript reading highlights only, okay? Because I've already did this. If you visit my playlist where it says R.KELLY trial updates and transcripts, all of them, all the transcripts are in there, okay? And also what I'm going to be doing is I have a new Patreon. Yes, I started my Patreon. All my information is located at the bottom of the screen in the description box. Hey, Ashley. Hi, gorgeous. Hey, Aaron. Hey. I have a new Patreon, and I am going to put all of the New York transcripts onto my Patreon. Yep. So all those that have been looking forward or what have you, I'm going to put them on there, as well as I'm thinking I'm going to put it on my members only here. So you have two different places to get the information, okay? But I think if I'm a limit what I put on here. You'll be able to find more of it on my Patreon. Like I said, if you want information about my Patreon, description box, okay? But I'm going to put all of the transcripts on there. I literally have each and every one that passed through in New York, and I'm going to put it on my Patreon, okay? Because I get asked all the time, how much for them? Well, how much would you charge? Look, all right, okay, so. Yeah, so that's that on that. What else? Yeah, and also the second video of the series that we did was the prosecution's opening. We went through the whole opening. I'm going to do the same as well on tonight. It's roughly about the same, 35 pages, if I'm not mistaken. I kind of skimmed through them. And it's like 35 pages, if I'm not mistaken. And we're going to read all through them. And to be honest with you, to give you guys a precursor, a lot of sidebars. Like, defense was messing up in the opening, okay? They were doing crazy stuff in the opening. Judge Donnelly had to get them together in a lot of cases, but you will hear that. It's just not me being biased, okay? I'm going to read them just as well as I read the prosecution opening, okay? So I hope you guys are ready, got your snack pack and wraps, and got you some good old Kool-Aid or beverage of choice to take all of this in. I'm sipping on Sprite. Okay, that's it, clear beverage, because I'm going to be doing a lot of reading, okay? So I want to go ahead and get into everything. But before, I got to give you guys a PSA.
Butterfly in the sky, I can go twice as high.
Nope, this ain't it. You are tuned into a realistic, unprofessional perspective reading of this book. So that means stumbles, fumbles, and sometimes an occasional mispronunciation of words. So if you are looking for the audible of this book, go buy it yourself, or feel free to mute me and read on your own. Otherwise, sit back and be grateful. You are tuned into a live reading with Whitney D.
All right, and clearly this is not a book, okay? These are transcripts, but it applies the same. I am not a professional reader of the transcripts. I'm choosing to do this so you guys can be informed, okay? However, I will have it on the screen, so if I get too extra, my voice irritates you, or whatever the case may be, you're more than welcome to mute me, and you can read on your own time. However, I'm here to read so you guys want to, so you can just pop me on your TV, pop me on your phone, finish cleaning, girl, get dinner together, get them kids in bed, okay? And listen to me while I read these transcripts, okay? Nonetheless, this is the series that I wanted to start because we are fastly approaching, let me see, we are fastly approaching the sentencing of R. Kelly. For those who are not privy to, I don't know where you've been seeing, but he has been convicted of all 9 counts, as we were made aware. He's 77 days as of today away from his sentencing in New York. Okay, as of right now, all of his original counsel is gone. Only person that he has on payroll right now, I think that he can afford, is Jean. Okay, Jennifer Jean, the same lady that was in connection with Cosby. Two different situations, but I digress. You know, we're gonna see how this plays out. I am in the process of talking to a defense attorney. He's busy defending people, so I'm going to get him on. And many of you guys may have seen him already. His name is Jamal. I think he is so dope. But anyways, we're going to have a few little questionnaires with him, ask him things that is pertaining directly to R. Kelly's trial. So you guys stay tuned for that. That will be a part of the series, okay? So I just wanted to let you guys know that. And get caught up if you have not gotten caught up, okay? All right, you guys, let's go ahead, because, you know, over here at WhitneyD TV, we're about evidence over emotions all day and every day. But let's go ahead and join, and let's go ahead and start the road to sentencing for R. Kelly. Absolutely forgot. Okay, like Katie said, Fair Use Act. Okay, which you can also find this in my description. Okay, this material is protected by Fair Use Clause of the Copyright Act of 1976, allowing the rebroadcast of copyrighted materials for the purpose of commentary, entertainment, and education. Know that none of this is a reflection of myself and my opinions. Okay. I'm just reading what the transcripts say. Okay. Oh, I'm tripping. I gotta pay bills. Okay. First and foremost, shout out to Shay Michelle Cosmetics for the beat, as you guys always know, as well as Shazazz Creations. These asses, child. As well as Shazazz Creations. Okay. They are the brands that I represent. You can find both of their links in the description box down below. I'm sorry, y'all. Okay, let's go ahead and get into this. All right. Okay. So, hey, Ernestine, my beautiful Ernestine, I love you. You like that music? Thank you. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get into this. Let me go ahead and put this up so everybody is fully aware as to what we are reading. This is day one, but this is the defense's opening statements. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right, we're ready to proceed with opening statements. Does the defense wish to give an opening? Ms. Becker. Yes, Judge. Thank you. The court. Go ahead. Ms. Becker. Oh no, I got this little thing in the way. Ms. Becker. Thank you. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. We don't learn in a law school how to put these microphones on. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The jury, collectively, good morning. Ms. Becker. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Attorney Nicole Blank Becker, and I am one of the 4 attorneys who are here today defending our client. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you to who is sitting at the table. We've got Attorney Tom Farnella, who, ladies and gentlemen, has been working as an attorney for over 20 years here in New York, federally and statewide. Additionally, we have DeVarks. You see it. Canick, a long veteran of both state and federal court, who started as a prosecutor. Oh, fun fact. I didn't know that. That's interesting to know. Hey, Leslie, Honey Bunches of Oats, welcome. The court. I'm so sorry. Can I see the lawyers at the side, please? Sidebar: conference held on the record in the presence of the court and counsel out of the hearing of the jury, the judge. So you can't make those kind of remarks in an opening statement. You're supposed to talk about what you expect the evidence to prove, and not talking about everybody's backgrounds as lawyers. It's just not appropriate. But you can certainly talk about what you think the evidence is going to prove. But let's not have any more bios. Okay? Miss Becker. Okay. You remember when the prosecutor did her opening? She described what she does and who she is. The judge, no, she did not. She said she was an assistant United States attorney. You've already said you're a lawyer, but we don't do resumes in an opening statement. So what I would like for you to do, I don't like to interrupt lawyers during opening statements, but that's just inappropriate. That's improper. So let's go ahead. Yeah. Judge Donnelly, it was not planned, baby. She was like, let's not, we don't care what you do as a side hustle. Keep it going. That's what I'm talking about, Judge. That's what I'm talking about. Keep her on her toes, Judge. Keep her on her toes. Okay, continues. Oh, hell. Sorry, y'all. Is this thing tripping again? Oh, yeah. My bad, y'all. I don't even have my port plugged up. Yeah. I know you lying. Hold on, y'all. I'm going to have to refresh again. Oh, yes, I do. It's right there. Hold on. Y'all know we got to go through this. It seems like every day. Okay, what page you on? 51. I'm going to get it pulled back up. Don't worry. Hold on, y'all. Y'all know we seem like we got to go through this every... It seems like we got to go through this. Oh, that's why. Hold on, y'all. Give me a second. That's why. Sorry, y'all. Bear with me. Okay. Yeah, y'all, my file wasn't opening. My bad. I got it down. Okay. Sorry, y'all. Okay. I got it now. Let me share my screen. All right, there we go. It's cold out here to you? A little bit. All right, y'all, let's continue. My bad, y'all. Okay. Okay, it continues. Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah. Let's go ahead. Chickadee check them. Okay. Miss Becker, may I judge? The judge, yes, go ahead. Miss Becker, thank you. Lastly, ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to leave out Calvin Scholar, who is with us as well. Ladies and gentlemen, I suggest to you that the fundamental reason that we are all here today is because the government wants you to believe that our client, an internationally known singer, someone that they want you to believe is the leader of some large enterprise, similar to John Gotti, the head of a mob family. Ladies and gentlemen, by charging Mr. Kelly, an internationally known singer, as the leader of an enterprise, the evidence will show that this is uncharted territory. You're not going to hear any evidence of anybody who comes in here and tells you about their experience with these kinds of charges. No, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask that throughout this trial, my team is going to ask that you listen carefully to how the government puts on their case. Now, in an attempt to paint Mr. Kelly, our client, who sits at the defense table, out to be some singing boss, it will be clear that the government will not be able to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. And here's why. What the government wants you to believe and stood up here and will ask questions about throughout this trial. The government is going to tell you that Mr. Kelly himself is being charged with that with what is known as a RICO statute. Now, RICO, ladies and gentlemen, a statute that is and was used and founded for organized crime. That the government is also charging Mr. Kelly with something that you will learn is called the Mann Act. Again, 110-year-old charge. Objection. Miss Gideus, the judge, sustain. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to explain to you and break it down what the defense believes the evidence is going to show and how, and I'm going to break it down by who, so that 1 + 1 = 2. Make it that easy for you, because I know and our team knows that words like enterprise, trafficking, transportation over state lines, those sound like some pretty serious charges, okay? Now, let me show you how the government's going to have a difficulty proving their case. Ladies and gentlemen, the evidence is going to show that the government wants you to think that Mr. Kelly single-handedly directed a very elaborate scheme, a scheme that was all hidden behind R.KELLY, the singer. Ladies and gentlemen, the whole purpose, they will tell you, of promoting Mr. Kelly's music for years and years and years was designed to recruit women and girls, fly them from state to state, country to country, all for one purpose, so he could have illegal sexual activities with them. Ladies and gentlemen, you will see for yourselves, not just me standing before you and telling you that the idea, the notion that individuals are going to get on the stand and they are going to tell you enough concrete evidence that Mr. Kelly is part of this huge conglomerate. I suggest to you, it's not going to happen. No, ladies and gentlemen, we believe that you are going to hear about several gaps in the government's case. Yes, specifically, part of what they have to prove to you is that there was a continuous ongoing enterprise. Ladies and gentlemen, I suggest to you that you are not going to hear from the one person on that witness stand who is going to say, I've been with Mr. Kelly for 30 years, almost as long as he's been singing. Why is that important? Well, ladies and gentlemen, why do I care to stand here and tell you about that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's part of what they must prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt. A continuous and ongoing enterprise. Additionally, ladies and gentlemen, you are also going to hear this case starts with allegations from 1993. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear from that witness stand that Mr. Kelly, although he had begun singing in the early 90s, he stopped his career. He actually played professional basketball, and you'll hear individuals on the stand tell you that from 1995 to 1997 to 1999, he wasn't singing at all. He wasn't allowed to sing when he was doing his professional basketball. And why is that important? Again, must be ongoing, continuous. Can't have something happening here in the 90s. Let's wait 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and call it an enterprise. No, that's not what the law will tell you. Okay? Those are details, ladies and gentlemen, that you must pay attention to. The details in this case we anticipate are going to make you think to yourself, is there something else? Did I miss something? But ladies and gentlemen, if you don't believe this element, this part that we are talking about right now, The fact that there was some ongoing and continuing enterprise, then, ladies and gentlemen, you have to be the ones to stand up, raise your hand in that jury room and say, I didn't hear that. No, or I'm following the law. The law doesn't say that. The evidence that you're going to hear throughout this trial, we believe, will make it nearly impossible for the government to prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. Hey, baby. We believe that the witnesses that take the stand, they will not hold up to scrutiny. No. In fact, we believe their testimony will crumble when it comes to cross-examination. Yeah, we suggest that there will be so many untruths told to you, ladies and gentlemen, that even the government won't be able to untangle the mass of lies. Yeah, remember, ladies and gentlemen, that each witness who comes into this courtroom and who takes the stand swears to tell the truth. Now, you, ladies and gentlemen, ultimately get to be the only ones determining if you believe that they are actually telling the truth. If you decide that you don't believe everything or even just part of what a witness says, you have the ability and the law and your honor will tell you. You as jurors have that power to decide who you believe, what you believe, and how much you want to believe. As sworn jurors on this case, you have one of the most awesome responsibilities. Yeah, and when you listen to both the direct, which is when the government asks questions, and the cross-examination by the defense, you will wonder, where is the proof? Yeah, where is the proof beyond a reasonable doubt? Yeah, now the government, we anticipate, okay, parade witness after witness after witness to that witness stand. And they will attempt, we believe, they will attempt to put a square peg into a round hole. Ladies and gentlemen, as they do that, you will use your common sense, and it will be obvious that that's what's happening. You will ultimately come up with one conclusion as you watch witness after witness come forward on untruths. After untruths. After a little bit of truth and more untruth. That if the government isn't able to fit all of their witnesses into this round hole, it will be obvious that these charges are overreaching. I mean, while the government will showcase basically every witness as they come up, you'll get to hear them for yourselves. Yeah, don't assume that everybody is telling the truth. I know that sounds like something that is obvious, but ladies and gentlemen, remember, when people talk, when people testify, you don't leave your common sense at the door. No, ladies and gentlemen, you come into court, into a courtroom, and you swear to tell the truth. And I hope that you hold them to that. Now, no matter how many witnesses the government may call, and I suggest, and we anticipate it may be a number, a lot. Just because someone has 5, 15, 20 witnesses that takes the stand, the law is actually, and the court will tell you that you don't judge guilt or innocence based on the number of people that take the stand. You base it on the number of people, the testimony that you believe. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we suggest that you are going to hear a number of half-truths, exaggerated testimony. And we also suggest that the witnesses that you're going to hear from have an agenda. Yeah, an agenda, ladies and gentlemen. I don't just pick that out of the air. You're going to hear that some of the witnesses, they wrote a book. A number of them wrote books. Yeah, you're going to hear some of the witnesses would get cash from Mr. Kelly to pay their family bills or issues that were going on with them at home. Yeah, you're going to hear some of the witnesses went on elaborate shopping sprees. And some enjoyed the notary of being able to tell their friends that they are with a superstar. Yeah, frankly, ladies and gentlemen, what we believe the evidence is going to show is that these women, these witnesses who take the stand, he didn't recruit them. Ladies and gentlemen, you will hear that they were fans, that they came to Mr. R. Kelly, okay? Now, did he pay for an airplane ticket? Yeah, he did. Would he pay for a hotel or an Uber? Yeah, okay, he did. But ladies and gentlemen, does that mean that he was running some monumental enterprise? No. You won't see that or hear that when the judge tells you about the law. Yeah, these witnesses, each one of them, specifically Jane Doe's, okay, you will see that they had both a personal and financial bias to be in different relationships with Mr. Kelly. Now, the government will paint a picture and the witnesses will take the stand and tell you all these negative things. In fact, they are going to form a picture that basically Mr. Kelly is this monster. Ladies and gentlemen, you are also going to hear that some of these relationships that Mr. Kelly had, yeah, they were beautiful. He actually had, which no one is talking about, long-term relationships with many of the Jane Does and individuals who take the stand. And the evidence is also going to show that these witnesses, they knew exactly what they were getting into. What do I mean by that? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, it was no secret that Mr. Kelly had multiple girlfriends. No, everybody, the witnesses that you'll hear from, they knew about that. Yeah, it's no surprise. Okay. And ladies and gentlemen, you'll even know that Mr. Kelly was quite transparent. Yeah. And he would tell the witnesses, the Jane Doe, those he was intimate with, okay, that there are other women that he's dating as well. From a man who you will hear has a very, very busy schedule. He had relationships that he tried to cultivate. How do you cultivate a relationship with a woman, or the government wants to say a man? You bring them in, into wherever you're working, because you don't have one place. He doesn't have just one place, one office. No, ladies and gentlemen, he is on the road. You will hear most of the years when he's doing a tour, if he wants to see, or you'll hear they want to come see Mr. Kelly. It makes sense. They hop on a plane and get to see him. Ladies and gentlemen, you'll hear that Mr. Kelly was married before. Not only was he married, he is the father of 3 with his ex-wife. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not a secret that he wasn't trying to get married again. No. And each individual who came into his life was made aware of that. Yeah. We believe that you will hear that the relationships that Mr. Kelly had with the various Jane Does were consenting relationships. Even if they were 12, okay? That's not in there. These were individuals who knew what they were getting into. And I don't mean you may be thinking to yourself, well, you are going to hear that they were getting into some, as the government suggested, horrible types of relationships with Mr. Kelly. No. No. You will hear that the Jane Does, most of them, okay, they contacted Mr. Kelly. Sure. Did they contact him because they received his phone number? Yes. How else in the 90s and coming into the 2000s do people contact each other? Now, individuals who wanted to be in Mr. Kelly's life, whether or not we understand their reasoning or we agree with the reasoning. Okay, this is not a situation, and you will not hear that they were recruited. If by recruited, the government wants you to believe that means that Mr. Kelly had an assistant who was responsible for keeping his daily routine up to par on a time. And the assistant was the one who, if Mr. Kelly and or you're going to see the witnesses, spoke with the assistant if they wanted to come, or depending on what date, not only worked for Mr. Kelly, but you'll see that worked for the individuals coming to see Mr. Kelly. Yes, they dealt with one of his assistants. The government will have you believe that the assistant was part of this large enterprise. Ladies and gentlemen, I suggest that you will hear from one of his assistants, if not more, and you would hear what her role was, her job as an employee. And it will be nothing more and nothing less than anyone else that was standing in her shoes. It was for purposes for being an assistant. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've discussed how you're going to hear about a number of consensual relationships with adults. You're going to hear about how those relationships oftentimes ended. You will hear that when a relationship, not all, okay, but when a relationship ended and it soured, those individuals became angry. Yeah, resentful and even spiteful. And that's when the evidence will show and you will be able to see. That's when they take advantage of their situation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we anticipate, ladies and gentlemen, that some of the witnesses that are going to take the stand, they are going to tell you, they are going to admit that they have stolen money from Mr. Kelly. They're also going to tell you that when they were in a relationship with Mr. Kelly, they had cheated on Mr. Kelly. These aren't things that you are going to hear are made up. No, they will tell you this themselves. You're also going to hear, they are going to tell you they bold-faced it, lied to Mr. Kelly. Now, the other part that you're going to hear, that there were a number of relationships in which Mr. Kelly and the individual broke up and it was amicable. They are still friends. They formed lifelong relationships, but nobody wants to talk about that. No, the evidence is also going to show you that there was a clear, distinct difference between Mr. Kelly and his personal life, as we all have. And Mr. Kelly and his business life Now, you're going to hear that Mr. Kelly had a persona. It's what they call it. We know that he goes by the name R.KELLY. Why, ladies and gentlemen? He's a singer. He is not the first, and he will not be the last person to do so. Now, you're going to hear that he had these relationships that had nothing to do with R.KELLY, the singer on stage. What do I mean by that? Why? Why am I talking about that? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear that the witnesses, that the individuals who testified, the Jane Does, they rarely, if ever, had anything to do with R.KELLY on stage. Did they go to the concerts? Did they travel with Mr. Kelly? Sure. In fact, I keep saying they. I should explain that to you. Ladies and gentlemen, remember earlier I told you that you would hear that they knew about each other? Yeah, you'll hear that they didn't just know about each other. They all became like a family. Sure, were some women not so interested in being in those kinds of situations? Yeah. And they have a right to be. You'll hear, ladies and gentlemen, that they ended their relationship because that's not what they wanted to sign up for. But you will also hear that the Jane Does and there are other women and Mr. Kelly's life that the government is going to put on the stand, they were part of his personal life. Okay? His personal life, if you notice on the charges, is not on trial here. His personal life is separate. He is not being charged individually. The charges are grandees. He can't be the leader of his own enterprise, and the enterprise is not how it works. The court, I'm going to caution the jury. I'll instruct you on the law, okay, at the appropriate time. Go ahead, Ms. Becker. Thank you, Judge. Now, you're going to hear that the witnesses in this case, they will take the stand and they are going to tell you all about their experience, their personal experience with Mr. Kelly. I suggest to you, ladies and gentlemen, we believe the evidence is going to show that they have relationships just like anyone else. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, just because the the witnesses, the Jane Does, rewind. Ooh, you got caught slipping, didn't you? Oh, let's run that back. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, just because the witnesses, classic. Woo! I know you lying. The Jane Does that he dated, just because they came to the concerts with him, they sat in the audience and would watch and support. It doesn't mean they are part of the show. Just as much, ladies and gentlemen, as my family, okay, isn't part of me being a lawyer. There is a clear distinction, and that distinction is important. When your honor tells you the law, you will see how important it really is. Now, if the government is unable to prove to you that Mr. Kelly's personal life and his business life are not Yes, that they are not interchanged. They are two separate things. Guess what? Fails. Again, Miss Becker, I will instruct the jury on the law. Please confine yourself to arguing what you expect the evidence to prove. Thank you, Judge. Now, we expect, ladies and gentlemen, that the witnesses will take the stand. They will look at you in the eye. They will swear that they are telling the truth. In fact, they are going to tell you they were victimized. They are going to tell you about a number of horribly surrounding things that they experienced while with Mr. Kelly. Okay? In fact, they are going to allege that he would take their phones and they wouldn't have a phone to call anyone. They're going to allege that they were starved and they couldn't eat unless they were told they could. You're going to hear that they were in locked rooms in secret places and they weren't permitted to leave the room without permission. You're going to hear that they weren't allowed to even look at other people, let alone other men. And you're going to hear that they were made to urinate in cups or buckets. Ladies and gentlemen, you will see and you will hear that all of their stories, all of their explanations are going to sound kind of similar. Now, they are going to use the same buzzwords, and you may, as you listen to that, think to yourselves, well, whoa. It must have really happened if they are all saying similar things. But ladies and gentlemen, remember, when you were asked questions initially, when we were trying to find a jury about the media, about TV, anything about it, well, ladies and gentlemen, I suggest to you that those who take the stand, they are going to tell you they have seen, read, or even personally been involved in all that stuff that we were asking you guys about. Yeah, and why is that important? Well, why am I bringing that up? Because, ladies and gentlemen, that all makes using those words, buzzwords like I couldn't eat, it was a cult. Those buzzwords, they are amazing. They are amazing in the media. They are amazing on a TV show. That some of these witnesses will tell you, talk shows that they went on, that is audience grabbing. Ladies and gentlemen, as we all know, they must come in here and testify in a courtroom. No matter what they heard or saw, this is a courtroom where they must tell the truth. Watch as this unfolds. Ladies and gentlemen, you're also going to hear that Mr. Kelly had rules that they must follow. The sound of that alone is pretty daunting. Rules in a relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, when the ladies, the Jane Does take the stand, or the witnesses, and they tell you about the rules, here is another place to pay special attention to. Listen to how fantasistical they tell you the rules are. Ladies and gentlemen, We suggest that they are Monday morning quarterbacking. What do we mean by that? Ladies and gentlemen, we suggest you'll see and you'll hear from the stand that when things didn't get to be the way they wanted, I don't know, maybe they wanted the relationship to continue and it couldn't. Ladies and gentlemen, when the witnesses were in a relationship with Mr. Kelly that worked, nobody would testify they complained about some rules. But guess what? When that relationship, that sexual relationship ended, now what? All the private conversations, the private understandings that they would have with someone they are dating and sexually active with, it's time to start talking to the public about it. And when you tell someone that you had to wear baggy clothes, you're going to get someone's attention. But, ladies and gentlemen, what you also have to listen to is what we call the totality of circumstances. What do I mean by that? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear, yes, a lot of the girls ended up wearing baggy clothes, but not because it was a rule. You'll hear, ladies and gentlemen, that concerts that Mr. Kelly would put on had thousands, if not tens of thousands of people that would go to them. And ladies and gentlemen, you will hear, the witnesses will tell you that it wasn't also so fun to be ushered amongst the crowd, to get into the seat so they could watch their man in his craft. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear that was becoming a problem for the women. And so, ladies and gentlemen, in order for them not to have to feel like they were being looked at or watched or poked at, they wore baggy clothes. Yeah. But because we're here for charges of a RICO, we have got to make the narrative different. And the narrative that comes from that stand is going to almost make everything seem shady. Ladies and gentlemen, throughout this trial, we're going to ask that you ignore what we're going to call the window dressing. You're going to hear so much drama from that stand. In fact, so much drama, it will almost take you off your path. But ladies and gentlemen, if you stick to your goal, if you stick to what you're here for, and you apply the laws as the court will give you, the drama will dissipate, and the truth will be clear. You're going to hear from the witnesses that they hopped on a plane, that they drove their car to go see Mr. Kelly, that they checked in on their own, okay, to hotels and got themselves Ubers, all while claiming they were held in some secret room and couldn't get help. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the kind of drama that we hope after hearing each witness or while listening to them, you're able to put aside. Now, we suggest to you that you're going to hear that the girls, that the witnesses, they would go out, okay? They would get their hair done. They would get their nails done. They would go shopping with Mr. Kelly. And guess what? They would have with them, when they would do it, a cell phone, okay? A cell phone that could essentially rescue them if that's the position they were really in, okay? I want to address another thing, another drama that you're going to hear about, and that is that one of the rules were that they had no go to the bathroom in a bucket. They had to go because they had no go. Y'all see that? They had to go to the bathroom in a bucket or a cup. That they weren't allowed to use the bathroom. Ladies and gentlemen, you will hear from the stand that a number of witnesses went with Mr. Kelly on a long tour. And you're going to hear also, ladies and gentlemen, that because Mr. Kelly is scared to fly, the tour bus was the main transportation. Not only did he have a tour bus, but you'll also hear about a Sprinter van that traveled from location to location as well. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, you will hear that there were times when they are on one of their long tour drives in cities they weren't familiar with. And did someone in the Sprinter van that doesn't have a bathroom pee in a cup? Yes, you might hear that. It's not illegal, though. Ladies and gentlemen, wait until you hear the law. It's not as nefarious, ladies and gentlemen, as the government would like you to believe. The tour bus, you will hear, the tour bus had a bathroom. So that part, when they testify about that, or if they I don't know what they were saying. If they testify about that, ladies and gentlemen, that doesn't make any sense. Okay? There will also be testimony that Mr. Kelly had employed what are called runners, which is a common term you will learn in the music industry. Runners basically, you will hear, they did what everybody else didn't want to do. They are equivalent to interns. They didn't get paid. Some of them, they did. Okay? Now we're going to take a quick pause for the cause. Let me grab something to drink, okay? I'm a little parched, okay? Give me a second. What up, you guys? Whitney D here with Whitney D, and we have merch! Are you guys doing okay? Let's continue. Hold on. Okay, sorry, y'all. Let's continue. All right. We have about like 20 pages. If that. I'm tripping. Let me see. Hold on. We have 85 minus 61. We have 16 more pages, y'all. We're almost wrapping this up, okay? So I'll say the next like 30 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, you will hear that one of the roles of the runners included being at the receptionist desk, included ordering food any guest at the studio needed. They also had to clean the studio. And yes, when they would clean the studio and they had to do the nitty-gritty work, a studio that you'll hear had enormous amounts of people in and out and in and out. Then yes, a runner or two will take that stand and tell you that they recall when they were cleaning one of the buckets or the cups that they had to throw out or get rid of smelled like urine. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, does that sound like the rules that you're going to hear by the women on the stand about not being able to go to the bathroom and having to pee in the cup? Or does that sound like what may happen in your vehicle? You know, when you drive on a long-term vacation, you know, you're also going to hear, ladies and gentlemen, that Mr. Kelly, he lived and has been living what some may call an extraordinary life. You will hear that he has sold millions upon millions of records. You will hear that he was number one in his craft. In fact, you're going to hear that he has so many fans that truly love and adore him and that are ape crazy. Okay, ape back crazy. Okay, back crazy. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to hear that he had music and wrote music that truly touched and uplifted people's lives. Miss Giddy's objection, child. The judge, sustain. Now, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Those are blessings, ladies and gentlemen, that you will hear. Sustain. I sustain the objections to that. Move on to something else, please. When Mr. Kelly grew up, which is something you're going to hear about, and ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear the court tell you that sympathy, feeling bad for someone, that sympathy, feeling bad for someone cannot play a role at all in your deliberations. When you hear, and you will, about how Mr. Kelly worked his way to being who he is. The discipline Mr. Kelly was involved in. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what we're talking about. When I say the totality of circumstances, Mr. Kelly, you will hear, started on the streets of Chicago, the judge. Can I see the lawyers at the side, please, with the court reporter? The following sidebar took place outside the hearing of the jury, but it went a little something like this. The judge, what's your objection? Ms. Kitties, my objection is I don't know how this has any relevancy whatsoever to case, nor how it's coming in. The judge, well, I am curious about that. Is he going to testify? That's the only way that will come in. Ms. Becker, no. They have a witness, Demetrius Smith, that is going to testify about this stuff. And specifically, the reason we are even going back to 1993 is due to his testimony for Aaliyah, the judge. I made a ruling at pretrial hearing that specific evidence of good conduct is not admissible unless you are calling somebody who is going to testify about his character. And there are particular rules that go along with that. But I specifically ruled that this was not permissible. It is certainly not permissible through someone else. I mean, if the defendant is going to testify about his life as part of his testimony, that's one thing. Okay, but you cannot have another witness come in here and say that he grew up on the streets of Chicago and worked hard. It is just not permissible. Okay, I frankly already ruled it. So stop doing that, please. Can I, Ms. Kitties, can I just address one other thing? You're not planning to reference his own upbringing, Ms. Becker? No. Ms. Kitties. Hold on, y'all. See, and y'all, this tells you right here, she chickadee checked prosecution. While people were saying she wasn't fair or whatever, she was very fair. She chickadee checked prosecution as well. And here it is right here. Let me continue. Ms. Giddens, just want to make sure. The judge, do you know about how much longer you're going to be? Ms. Becker, maybe half an hour. The judge, all right, I just wanted to see if we were going to be able to start a witness. Okay, great. Okay. Child, she's over, Ms. Becker. May I, Judge? The judge, yes, go ahead. She is over the fence. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk a little bit more specific. Let's talk about each individual. Individual Jane Doe that you will hear from on that witness stand, and what we anticipate the evidence will show. Ladies and gentlemen, the first charge that has been presented to you by the government has to do with bribery. Bribery, ladies and gentlemen. And it dates all the way back to 1994. Ladies and gentlemen, when you hear that testimony and when you hear how long ago the crime that they are alleging occurred, require them to prove the specifics to you. Because, ladies and gentlemen, use your common sense. If Mr. Kelly was involved in a crime back in 1994, would we be here today? Objection. Judge, sustain. Ladies and gentlemen, you are going to find that when it comes to Aaliyah, Jane Doe number one, the government suggested that you are going to hear that she was pregnant, and that was the reason for a false marriage. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaliyah, God rest her soul, she passed away. She's not going to be here to testify from that stand. Ladies and gentlemen, hold them to having a witness that is going to say that she was pregnant. Now, did she have friends that she probably talked to? Does she have family? Of course. But ladies and gentlemen, there will be no evidence, no proof that any of that is even true. Now, I wish I could say that when Aaliyah takes the stand, she could tell you that herself, but instead, ladies and gentlemen, under the circumstances, under the way the government has chosen to charge Mr. Kelly with a very, very serious sustain. The charges are what they are. Please talk about what you expect the evidence to prove. I will instruct the jury on the law. Okay, please go ahead. Thank you, Judge. Make sure you listen to the few witnesses that they are going to have for the bribery charge. You will see that Robert Sylvester Kelly, which is the enterprise, RSK, which is the enterprise that they are suggesting, objection, overruled. That Mr. Kelly was the head of was somehow involved in this illegal request of a state employee to change an ID. Listen to the very minute and important details of that testimony. And we suggest that you won't hear enough. You won't hear the truths that will allow them to succeed on that charge. And if they can't prove that charge beyond a reasonable doubt, you ultimately will have to find Mr. Kelly guilty. Not guilty of that charge. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you're also going to hear from Jane Doe number 2. Jane Doe number 2, ladies and gentlemen, you will hear had met Mr. Kelly. In fact, you'll hear she met him initially, but it wasn't until I believe it was about a year or so later at a coffee shop. Ladies and gentlemen, you are going to hear that they exchanged numbers, phone numbers there, and that she called Mr. Kelly. Yeah. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to hear that they dated for 6-8 months. And when I say dated, she came to see Mr. Kelly often in different states. Now, you're going to hear how the way that she ended up getting to come and deciding to go visit Mr. Kelly was she showed up at a Nike store, the Nike store in Chicago up on Michigan Avenue. And that's where she exchanged phone numbers. Although I indicated they talked at the coffee shop, but nothing actually came about until Nike. Now, the government has told you, excuse me, and they expect the evidence to show that Jane Doe number 2, she formed a relationship with Mr. Kelly because she had a friend that she wanted to introduce to Mr. Kelly, who was a good singer. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you are also going to hear that when she ended up going to visit Mr. Kelly, you won't see a plane ticket for her friend. You won't hear a testimony from that stand that her friend ever sang for Mr. Kelly. No, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, and actually, yes, she did. She did eventually sing for him, and he wasn't interested. Now, with Jane Doe number 2, you are going to hear, and the allegations are that there was a sex videotape. In fact, the allegations are that she was exploited. It's the word under the law. That Mr. Kelly initially and knowingly coerced her into having sex. Ladies and gentlemen, we believe the evidence will show quite the contrary. And that's why, ladies and gentlemen, we need you to use your common sense. Use your common sense. When you hear about the relationship that Jane Doe number 2 had with Mr. Kelly. Now, you are also going to hear about Jane Doe number 3. Now, Jane Doe number 3, Mr. Kelly's charge in the indictment with regards to Jane Doe number 3 with secretly confining her. He is charged with confining her for the purpose of kidnapping her. Ladies and gentlemen, we anticipate that you're going to hear that she came to the studio in Chicago, Mr. Kelly's studio, in the hopes of getting to Mr. Kelly initially. She'll tell you it was because she worked at a radio station and her boss at the station wanted her to come and go find Mr. Kelly or interact with Mr. Kelly in an interview. The interview was declined. Yeah, you were here, but she continued to talk to Miss Kelly. And over weeks, if not months, they decided that they would get together. Now, when she got on the plane, of which nobody forced her to do, she ends up in Chicago and she does go to the studio, she says. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we anticipate that you are going to hear that when she got to the studio. She was taken to one of the rooms there. And in fact, the studio, you'll hear, it has bedrooms there. It has, I want to call it like hanging out rooms with couches. There were several parties that happened at those studios. And you'll hear that she was escorted or taken by one of the runners to the room to wait. Okay? So she could meet and be engaged to talk to Mr. Kelly. Now, you're going to hear that she waited hours. And then it sounds like she's going to tell you it was days. where she was locked in a room, a secret confined room. That's what the law says. And she couldn't do anything. She couldn't eat. She was starving, and she was not able to get out. Ladies and gentlemen, you're going to hear, she will also tell you she was comfortable enough that she went and took a shower, which was not in the room that she was waiting for Mr. Kelly. She'll tell you, yes, she went to the bathroom. Again, not in the room. And she's going to tell you that she had her cell phone the entire time. Not only did she have her cell phone, where she could have called the police, okay, if she was in some kind of danger or felt like she was being held against her will. There was a phone in the room. This was back when there were phones that actually connected to the wall. She's also going to tell you that she used the phone. She'll tell you she called the front desk, the reception area where the runners are, almost as many as 80 times. Where's Mr. Kelly? Where's Mr. Kelly? She also was hungry. And you'll hear that they ended up getting her Chinese food and the drink. She'll tell you that didn't have any eyes. There's a reason why I bring that up. The allegations are that Mr. Kelly, when he kidnapped her, when he locked her in the room, because I believe she's going to tell you the doors only lock from the outside in, and hold the government to that. Please. I suggest that you won't see one picture or one other person tell you the same. So, ladies and gentlemen, the other part of the charges against Mr. Kelly with Jane Doe number 3 is that he engaged in fondling or touching her. And she was drugged. Ladies and gentlemen, you will not hear her take that stand and tell you that she knows that she had any kind of sexual relations with Mr. Kelly. No. You're going to be asked to make assumptions based on what she tells you. I believe the government said she woke up and there was some liquid coming from her private area. Ladies and gentlemen, don't let the government prove a case to you or try to prove a case to you based on, I think we had sex. No, it feels like I might have had sex with him. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to hear her tell you she felt and she believed she was drugged. Hold the government to that, ladies and gentlemen. Make the government show you beyond a reasonable doubt that that is in fact true. And when you see that they can't, when you see that this is a narrative, you won't be able to find Mr. Kelly guilty of that charge either. No. Now, next, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to move on to Jane Doe number 4. Now, you're going to hear not 1, not 2, not 3, but I can't even count as high as the number of untruths. Stories that you're going to hear from Jane Doe number 4 on the stand. Ladies and gentlemen, she is going to tell you from her own mouth. She will admit that she's a liar. She's lied to Mr. Kelly. In fact, she's going to tell you and admit that she was a super fan. Yeah, she'll tell you since a young girl, since a young age, Mr. Kelly's music has been around her family, friends, the neighborhood, and she listened to it. And that his music, okay? His music was everything to her. You're also going to hear her tell you that she was completely enveloped in her passion for Mr. Kelly, the singer. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, the proverbal word groupie, which we don't usually like to use, but it's a word, is an understatement. When it comes, you will see to Jane Doe number 4. Jane Doe number 4 is going to tell you about how she met Mr. Kelly. Now, in fact, she's going to tell you that there was a court procedure, and she heard that it was going to be in Chicago, where she lived at 14 years old, and she wanted to get a chance to support Mr. Kelly. In fact, ladies and gentlemen, she is going to tell you that she went to the hearings every day. She skipped school. Mom didn't know about it. She lied to her parents. She lied to her mom. I believe her father may have passed, so I apologize. I'm not sure. But she'll tell you she lied to her mom, who she had a very close relationship with. She'll tell you. So she could pursue her passion, Mr. Kelly. In fact, Jane Doe number 4 is going to tell you that she was even personally acknowledged by Mr. Kelly, and that he had promised her a signature or autograph. You are going to also hear, ladies and gentlemen, that there were other women who were as supportive as Jane Doe number 4 of Mr. Kelly. They had a forum. You're here on the internet for R. Kelly supporters. She met and befriended people from that forum. It will be obvious when she takes the stand that she possessed a special passion for Mr. Kelly. Now, what you're also going to hear, ladies and gentlemen, with regards to Jane Doe number 4, she wrote a book. She talked to several talk shows. One of which you will hear is a talk show that she was on that had nothing to do with Mr. Kelly. Ladies and gentlemen, why the media stuff is so important in the aspect is because you're going to see how Jane Doe number 4's story is likely a snowball. It's small. I met Mr. Kelly. Oh, I saw R. Kelly, and it gets just bigger and bigger and bigger. The lies, the untruths that she attaches to herself. And Mr. Kelly, you'll see them unfold. The judge, Miss Becker, I hope this is a good time to break. Sure. The judge, I am going to excuse the jury for lunch, so you can have a seat. Thank you. All right, folks, I am going to excuse you for lunch. Again, please do not talk about anything having to do with the case, but have a good lunch, and we'll be back here at 2:15. All right? See you then. All right. The courtroom deputy, all rise. The courtroom deputy, you may be seated. The court, all right. Anything before we break for lunch? Mr. Kennedy, no, Your Honor. Judge, Ms. Gideon, no, Your Honor. The court, all right. How much longer do you think you have, Ms. Becker? It's been going on a little while. As long as you want is fine. No more discussions about the law at all, but I am just trying to get an idea of when we'll get the witness on. Ms. Becker, Judge, I talk slow, so, well, can you use the microphone too? Miss Becker, sorry, Judge. The judge. That's all right, Miss Becker. Judge, I know I speak slow and I'll speed it up. The judge, I don't want you to speak faster. And if you want more to say to the jury, I am going to let you. That's within the bounds of rules. I am really just trying to figure out scheduling. That's all, Miss Becker. 25 minutes, Judge. We'll try to keep it at that. The judge, okay. And the first witness is Miss Gideon's Geronda Pace. And Your Honor, there may be one issue that we're going to raise before Miss Pace testifies. Are you still talking about Miss Pace in your opening, Miss Gideon? I think we just Miss Becker. I think we just Miss Gideon. Did we just finish? Okay. So, Your Honor, I had previous ruled that evidence of the defendant's 2002 arrest and 2008 trial was not going to come in. However, I think the defense brutally attacked Miss Pace's credibility, and part of what she's going to testify to is that she, of course, met the defendant, okay, at the trial and attended virtually every single day of the trial. But most importantly, when she last saw Mr. Kelly, he assaulted her. And she then retained a lawyer to discuss what, if any, options she had. And ultimately, she reached a civil settlement with Mr. Kelly. However, she did not pursue criminal charges against him, in large part because she had seen what had happened during the 2002 arrest and trial thereafter. And that greatly informed how she ultimately resolved those charges. I anticipate, based on defense's opening, that she's going to be attacked again for pursuing that civil settlement. And it is going to be difficult to explain to the jury some of the reasons why she didn't go to the police, the judge. Well, I think I don't know who is cross-examining her. Or you going to challenge the fact that she didn't go to the police? I don't know which one of you has the witness, Ms. Becker. I do, Judge. The court. All right. I mean, just as a general matter, I made rulings pre-trial, some of them to protect the defendant. And I did notice that you were referring that trial. I think I ruled that you should refer to it as a court proceeding, which is fine. But I think you just have to bear in mind, if you start questioning her about why she didn't go to the police about it, if that's one of the factors, it could open the door. I have not heard the testimony, so I am not making a ruling on it now. But like in every case, you have to be mindful about the steps that I have taken to protect Mr. Kelly. And you can't use it as a sword. So I will be mindful of that ruling. They are subject to change if either side opens the door or something like that. So, all right, have a good lunch. I will see you back here afterwards. All right. I think that's it. Oh no, it continues. Child. Lord, it continues. Where we at? I might have to break this down, baby, because we already at an hour and 30. And I don't want this to be too long. They are long-winded. Let me see. 88. Yeah, we're gonna come back and finish this tomorrow. Because baby, look at this. The fence is just long-winded. Child, yeah, the fence is long-winded. We're gonna come back and finish part 2. I know everybody is ready to go ahead and get into these witnesses, but I'm trying to do a due diligence of getting this information to you guys in a good time, in a good way. And the defense, no shade, is long-winded. Okay. But reading a lot of this back, it's kind of like, it makes me think, because a lot of people were just saying how Judge wasn't on R.Kelly's side. She was having his back in a lot of cases, and she was getting on the prosecution in a lot of times too, as we heard. And this is just the opening. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying. Hey, Kamiko. Thank you, Kamiko. Kamiko says, I love your mini, looks beautifully animated. That is so sweet. I know. Beautifully animated stays on point, girl. Love her. Kamiko says, no one on a long trip is relieving themselves in a vehicle. Not at all. We're gonna pull over, even if it's behind a tree somewhere. You're not gonna relieve yourself in no cup in the car, even if you can't. Like, that's disgusting. Like, you got other people in your car and stuff like that. Nah, miss me with that. They're trying to make it seem like, oh, it's normal. It's not illegal. It's not illegal, but it's cruel. You know what I'm saying? And the thing is, let me see. That's infamous guilty. I mean, not guilty. Right. Y'all remember that? So the thing is, in regards to that, is that what defense tried to do is try to make all the cruelty and the things that he did to these girls. Like she said, that was funny too, when she said girls and then changed it to women. Now, you had it right. She's not taking into consideration that this stuff is morally wrong. The stuff that he was subjecting them to, you don't do that when you love somebody or care about somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't do people like that. You know what I'm saying? So to hear, like, that's not illegal. Well, and then also, did y'all notice that she said about Geronda being 14 going to the court? And eventually she's going to be talking about her line about her age, okay? So you're acknowledging in court that she was 14 years old, that she was illegal. I don't think she gathered her saying that. That was stupid. She shouldn't even said the girl age. She should just say a young age or whatever the case may be. She specifically said the girl was 14 years old. Trying to make a point like, look at her, she was young, she was doing this. But that goes back to saying she was young. And even though she lied, she was young. You get what I'm saying? Child. His defense was trifling. Trifling. But anyways, y'all, that's where we wrap it up at, okay? We're at now an hour and 35 minutes. I thank you guys very much for going on this journey with me. I promise you guys we will wrap up these openings this week. And if we have a little time, excuse me, I hate that noise on camera. I mean, on mic. We'll segue into Geronda, okay? We'll start that as well. But I've really been trying to make each transcript reading be separate so I don't have to go back in and chop stuff up. However, this particular one I am going to, because she's just long-winded. She went from a half an hour to 25 minutes. So that means that you only spoke like child girl. No ma'am. Hey, Beautiful Animated says, you looking flawless, beautiful, all the way in every way. Loving the whole look. Love the makeup for the shirt, then the jacket, gold chain, flawless. Thank you, honey bunches. And actually, this shirt my mom got from Corpus Christi. Let me see. You see? My mom is from Corpus Christi, Texas. I don't know if y'all can see that. And when she went to Corpus Christi, she brought me back this shirt. So shouts out to mom. Thank you. But yeah, she's from Corpus Christi. I remember us talking about it because, Selena is from Corpus Christi. And so I was talking to her about if she was going to go to the monument that they have down there for her and stuff like that. And, yeah, so my mom is from Corpus Christi. And so she got me this shirt and I said, I have never worn it. And it's a really cool shirt. And my husband kind of took me back. It was nostalgic. He was like, it reminds me of Ed Hardy. And I was like, oh my God, it does remind me of like an Ed Hardy feel, And so I said, let me get it together. Yes, I've never been. I always wanted to go to my mom's home city, if you will. You know, because like I tell y'all, my mom, we're very multicultural in my family. You know, we have Indian, white, black in us, and you know, and just like my husband, he is Cuban. And so I love cultures, you know what I'm saying, and having them be infused. I'm okay with interracial dating. Will I? No, but it's a beautiful thing to me. But my only pet peeve is when people make people choose a side when they're a blend. That annoys me. But anyways, y'all, let me not get all blabbery about something that has nothing to do with this. Okay. I'm so grateful for you guys tuning in these nights. I am going to actually release the you know, I do a little snippet of the information, because really we were supposed to be actually moving on to Geronda by now. Friday, because I want to put a space in between this time, because you know I'm not going to be doing this daily. Like I said, I'm only reading highlights of the transcripts. I am again going to place every last single one of these transcripts on my Patreon. If that's something that you guys are interested in, let me know by going to my Patreon. It's probably going to be the top tier of my Patreon. Let me go head on over there. No. Hold on, sorry. Let me click on it. We're gonna visit my Patreon so you guys can see how it is. Okay, I'm gonna share my Patreon for you guys so you guys can see. And that's where, like I said, that's where it's going to be, on my Patreon. Okay. And boom. Okay. I said, you know, let me start me a Patreon, because I really don't have a place to where I can share all this stuff. Okay. So I will place in. This is how it looks, you guys. So we have a Patreon. Yay. Okay. So look for me. Become a member. Okay. Now, in regards to the transcripts, however, okay, it's going to be under the VIP patron. I'm not going to lie to you. I am going to add all of the transcripts there, okay? I may add the openings, the ones that I'm reading in the first two, but all of them will be listed under the VIP patron, okay? So if you're interested in getting the transcripts, or at least seeing them, that's where you'll be able to go, okay? But know that they have my watermark on them, okay? Because they are mine, okay? So if I see them anywhere else, know that it's not going to do you a service, because it's going to have my watermark on them. So it's defeats the purpose of trying to use them elsewhere, okay? But not for nothing, you guys. That is the video. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. I will be back with you guys on Friday, okay? We're going to take a gap, a pause in this pause or whatever, and know that this is going to be sporadic. It's not going to be a routine day, because I am going to be doing other content in between this, okay? So I will be seeing you guys on Friday. You guys will get a pre-recorded video sometime before then. I'll probably release it tomorrow or what have you. But yeah, thank you guys so very much for tuning in. Now, y'all know how we do it here over at WhitneyD TV. We are evidence over emotions. Remember that. I love you guys. See you Friday. Well, actually, I'll see you sooner. Hopefully, I'll see you guys at Straight Talk with Whitney D on Thursday. All right, you guys. Bye.
What up, Witness Nation? Now, you know we're super sleuths over here. We all about the facts. Evidence over emotions. Let's see what we've discovered.
I'm Whitney.
Keep it cute, but get to boot.